Hello, this is Dave from Net4 Truth USA, Whirlwind Revolt. It is May 11th, 2019, and I've been off for a couple of days because I just had to take a break. There's just too much stuff going on, and I'm trying to make heads or tails of all this information that's coming at me. But one thing is sure, and one thing is for certain, that the obstruction that is formed against Donald Trump has come to an end with the Mueller report being a big nothing burger, and the Democrats demanding to see the redacted version of the Mueller report, which contains grand jury testimony and possibly the identities of people testifying. And then when offered to view the unredacted document, refused and instead filed a contempt of Congress complaint against the Attorney General. I would think that that's like tantamount to pissing off the police chief in your neighborhood when you've got some criminal charges pending against you. Not a good idea. And nobody is talking about Julian Assange anymore, except for Redacted Tonight, which I will mirror on this video because it's got to get exposed and it's got to get viewed by as many people as possible. And if you don't subscribe to Redacted Tonight, I highly recommend that you do. They have both sides of the views exposed, and we let you make up your mind on what is true and what's not true. But Julian Assange, who has consistently reported on things that would have won Nobel Prizes years ago, is now in jail in the UK with extradition to the United States. Hopefully, that's a ruse by the Trump administration to get him over here so he can testify about what he knows about the deep state and about the murder of Seth Rich, who I believe is possibly, and this is a coin toss because I run into one thing and run into another thing. One thing says one thing says another thing, and it's hard to make sense out of it. It's hard to pick the fly shit out of pepper, so to speak, to determine what's the truth. But on a scale, if I was to put it one on the left and one on the right, I think the weight of evidence that Seth Rich is still alive and waiting to testify far overweighs the evidence for him being dead. Because, first of all, the attending physician in the emergency room that night said that his wounds were not life-threatening and he's seen worse. The fact that a code was called and no emergency cart was brought into the room. The fact that he was surrounded by government agents. We don't know if they were white hats or black hats. All adds an air of suspicion and adds a, air of credibility, so to speak, for someone to come up with the theory that he is still alive, and hopefully he is. Hopefully that's the last hammer to drop before the 2020 election. And if I was the president, I would do things a lot differently, but obviously he knows more than I do. The corruption is a lot deeper than we might think. Joe Biden's son over in the Ukraine being set free by the firing of the prosecutor, with the threat by Joe Biden that the Ukraine wouldn't get their $1.2 billion loan guarantee that they needed in order not to default. So we have people using the power of their office to get their relatives off on crimes that were being investigated over there. And it goes much deeper than that. I guarantee this thing is so deep, it's so corrupt, it's so long-standing since JFK and probably even before that, This country is being sold out by a group of traitors, mostly in the Democratic Party and some in the Republican Party, who have traded their integrity, who have traded the rule of law for money in their pocket, for other favors from foreign governments. It is absolutely disgusting. It's absolutely disgusting. But on the issue of Julian Assange, I could not have said it better than Redacted Tonight. Leave it to a Russian-sponsored TV station here in the United States to speak the truth that the mainstream media will not touch. They won't touch it. And by not touching it, they do themselves a great disservice. CNN and the mainstream media are obsolete. We are the news now. That's a fact. And I know I have more than 2,800 subscribers for those TheirTube employees who are reviewing these videos. I have the evidence. I'm just about to drop the hammer on you sons of bitches. And you can count on when I drop the hammer, it's not going to be a waste of time. This is Dave from Net4 Truth USA, Whirlwind Revolt. Watch this.
Well, I suppose it makes sense that if you're going to call comedians foreign agents, then you might as well call journalists and publishers criminals. As you know, Julian Assange has been arrested and is now locked away in British custody. The U.S. government wants to extradite him for the crime of revealing our crimes. So the crime of showing people our crimes. Yeah. And you have to admit, that is a pretty dick thing for Julian to do. Come on, man. Just let us kill a few 100,000 innocent people without you all blabbing about it. Let us torture some folks. Don't be a narc, man. Just be cool, Jules. So with Assange on the verge of being shipped here to be tortured, now is a good time to go through all of the incredibly important revelations from WikiLeaks. Let's start with the most famous one, the collateral murder video, showing us U.S. aircrew gunning down Iraqi civilians. They murdered between 12 and 18 innocent people, and you can hear on the video, they were having a ball doing it. They were fucking loving it. And two of the people they murdered were Reuters journalists. So you would think maybe Reuters, of all the media outlets, maybe Reuters would pry their head from their ass cheeks and fight for Assange's freedom. But no, their head is firmly planted in there, all right? It's like a vice grip. It's like Joe Biden's hand on a young girl's shoulder, all right? It is on there. 0 people have been arrested for the collateral murders, yet Julian Assange has been arrested for revealing them. Moving on, WikiLeaks brought us the Guantanamo Bay procedures, showing that many of the prisoners were completely innocent and that some were hidden from Red Cross officials. Because, you know, when you're torturing innocent people, you kind of want to do it in peace and quiet, away from the prying eyes. It's very easy to get distracted, and then you lose your place, and then you got to start all over, okay? None of the soldiers torturing innocent people at Gitmo have been arrested for it. Yet Julian Assange has for revealing it. WikiLeaks also came out with the secret Bibles of Scientology, which showed that aliens run the world, or aliens are inside of us, or aliens give us indigestion or something. I can't remember. Anyway, but no one has ever been arrested for perpetrating that nutbag cult, yet Julian Assange has for revealing it. Next up, Tibetan dissent in China. WikiLeaks posted videos of dissidents fighting back, which were not allowed to be viewed in China. And in case you forgot, WikiLeaks does not only open up the truth about the US, it has brought transparency around the world. They revealed the Peru oil scandal and that Russia was spying on their citizens' cell phones, and the Minton report on toxic dumping in Africa, and the Syrian file showing the inner workings of the Syrian government. And WikiLeaks showed us a secret Australian Supreme Court gag order that stopped the Australian press from reporting on a huge bribery scandal that involved the central bank and international leaders. This might be why Assange is hated by governments around the world. You know, as much as they may like some transparency from other countries, they don't want their own particular pile of shit on full display. You know, it's kind of like when we laugh heartily after a celebrity has like an upskirt photo published in the tabloids. But at the same time, none of us want upskirt photos of us all over the web. I know I don't, because I'm a lady. No, sir. As far as I know, none of the political figures involved in all those scandals have gone to prison for them, yet Julian Assange has for revealing them. There was also the Iraq war logs, hundreds of thousands of documents relating to America's illegal invasion of Iraq, which we called a war, but I think a war has to have two sides, right? There have to be two sides. In this case, there was really just the one. You know, Iraq's elite Republican Guard turned out to be 3 guys and a fucking donkey, okay? And the donkey didn't even have good aim. So, as far as I can tell, no one committing the war crimes evidenced in the Iraq war logs has been locked up for them. Yet Julian Assange has for revealing them. WikiLeaks showed us the highly secretive Bilderberg Group meeting reports. The Bilderberg Group is made up of incredibly powerful men and women getting together and deciding how to rule over all of us unwashed masses while sitting on thrones made from the bones of the babies of the non-believers. And the Bilderberg Group are often accused of being lizard people, but really they're just regular old sociopaths with like lizard skin that they purchased from a plastic surgeon in Malibu for like $500,000. So it's a lot less sci-fi and a lot more, gross. I don't think anyone from the Bilderberg Group is being tortured in solitary confinement right now, yet Julian Assange is for revealing who they are. The Barclays Bank tax avoidance scheme that netted Barclays £1 billion a year. While they were ordered to pay $500 million in lost taxes, no one was arrested for that theft from citizens. Yet Julian Assange was for revealing it. The Afghan War Diaries, which consisted of 92,000 documents related to our destruction of Afghanistan. It detailed friendly fire incidents and civilian casualties. It showed that when reporting their own activities, U.S. units are inclined to classify civilian kills as insurgent kills, downplay the number of people killed, or otherwise make excuses for themselves. This guy we just killed was an insurgent. How do you know? Because we killed him. Well, why did we kill him? Because he's an insurgent. How do you know? Because we killed him. This is the war that never ends. It just goes on and on, my friends. Some people started waging it not knowing what it was, and they'll keep right on waging it forever just because this is the war that never ends. It goes on, everybody now, it goes on and on, my friends. Some people started waging it not knowing what it was. All right, that's good enough, that's good. I am unaware of anyone, you nailed it though, you nailed it. I'm unaware of anyone locked away for these war crimes, yet Julian Assange is for revealing them. WikiLeaks also unveiled hundreds of thousands of U.S. State Department cables that showed more clearly than ever how our secretive government rules their empire with little to no input from the American people. The cables revealed Secretary of State Hillary Clinton ordering diplomats to spy on French, British, Russian, and Chinese delegations at the UN Security Council. It also showed Arab nations urging the U.S. to strike Iran and much more. Our ruling elite, of course, view this as a massive breach of national security. That's understandable. But that worldview only comes into play if you think the elites are the only ones who should know how our nation is run. Look at that face. Look at that face. Look at that face. Look at it. Look at it. Take it in. Take it in. Look at it. Now tell me you want the ruling elite to be the only ones to know what the fuck is going on. Look at it. The concept of our government was that those foie gras, beer bong, and assholes would be accountable to us, to you and to me, to the workers and the number crunchers, to the single moms and the fluffers at the porn sets. We're supposed to vote based on our knowledge of how our government is functioning. But if all our representatives are secretly, performing bestiality in a basement somewhere, and that fact is considered top secret for national security purposes, we aren't really an informed populace now, are we? Right? So for all that was unveiled in the State Department cables, no one has been locked up, but Julian Assange has for revealing it. The Stratford emails, this was millions of emails that showed how a private intelligence agency was used by its U.S. corporate and government clients to target activists and protesters. No one in Stratford is locked away, but Julian Assange is for revealing it. Then there's the trade deals, TPP, TISA, TTIP. All three amount to one of the largest attempts at corporate takeover ever conceived. All three were more secretive than the ending of Game of fucking Thrones, all right? They were decided in private by government leaders and corporate lawyers and lobbyists. The only organization to show us some of these documents before they were made into law was WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks made us aware of the corporate restraints that were about to be placed on us. And that's what allowed activists to pressure Trump to pull out of the TPP. None of those corporate goons are imprisoned for their attempted power grab, but Julian Assange is for revealing it. Then there's the DNC emails and the Podesta emails. I'll explain for those of you who have been living in a cave that itself is inside a yellow and blue makes green sealed Tupperware container. The DNC emails showed us just how rigged the Democratic primaries really are. They proved media, financial, and organizational rigging in favor of the Hillary campaign. They even showed that Obama's entire first-term cabinet was selected by Citibank. Citibank! I'd rather have his cabinet decided by the pus oozing out of Darth Vader's face or Vince McMahon or some shit. Whatever election integrity movement there is right now owes a lot to those revelations by WikiLeaks. After being brought to court over this, by the way, the DNC's lawyers admitted the DNC has no obligation to have fair primary elections. It's their right to rig them. But don't try to get angry over this, because if you do, the CIA has ways to fuck up your life. In 2017, WikiLeaks posted a trove of CIA documents called Vault 7. It detailed their capabilities, including remotely taking over cars, smart TVs, web browsers, and smartphones. And after I read that, I was like, all right, fuck it. I'm going full Amish, 100% full Amish. Let's see the CIA hack my butter churn, all right? Good luck. Are they gonna use backdoor software to get inside my rustic wooden bow saw? And even if they could, are they going to listen to my conversation about how me bobbling Frau read up for Ruchen round? Ah, Schmanzlov wunderbar. So is anybody at the CIA chained up for violating our privacy in every way they can come up with? No, but Julian Assange is for revealing it. WikiLeaks has helped create movements around the world, like the Arab Spring and Occupy. And don't forget, at first, WikiLeaks and Assange were celebrated for it by the mainstream outlets. In 2011, Amnesty International hailed WikiLeaks as one of the Arab Spring catalysts. The Guardian wrote, "The year 2010 may well be remembered as a watershed year when activists and journalists used new technology to speak truth to power, and in so doing pushed for greater respect for human rights. It is also the year when repressive governments faced the real possibility that their days were numbered." So why did so many outlets and people turn against Assange and WikiLeaks? Because it turned out he wasn't only revealing repressive Arab regimes. He was also revealing US-backed coups and war crimes around the world. He exposed the criminality and villainy of the American ruling elite. Assange has been nominated for multiple Nobel Peace Prizes, and nearly every respected media outlet around the globe has done some reporting at some point based on source material from WikiLeaks. Yet after all this, and after 7 years in captivity, the man who laid bare these criminals and showed each one of us our chains, he and others who helped him reveal the truth are the only ones endlessly punished. But I'm right. That's true. It's true. But I am not here to tell you to stand up for freedom of speech and freedom of information. No, take a load off. Stay there. You should not do that. And whatever you do, don't print out flyers like this and post them around town. Do not do that. Let journalism die in peace and quiet. All right? And do not go to twitter.com/Lee Camp, where you'll find a link for this flyer and then print out thousands or perhaps millions and then post them around town. You can post them on people's faces. It doesn't matter. All over the internet. Do not do that. And definitely don't print out a giant poster like this and put it around here. Do not. I repeat, do not. That would be a terrible thing to do. Instead, let journalism rest in peace. Coming to you from Washington, D.C., the Valley Base is Redacted Tonight.
Please subscribe to our backup channels, Whirlwind Revolt, Inglorious Patriots, and Net4Truth USA 2 Patriot channel. You can also find us at Net4Truth USA on BitChute. We fly so close to the target, we're on our 4th fighter jet. We will be relentless truth seekers until the enemies of freedom are defeated. You can support this channel by using the links in the description, but for a $100 donation, I will personally send you a autographed hardcover special edition copy of Land of Childhood's Fears. Also, visit my bookstore at lulu.com/Net4Truth USA. If you are viewing this video on BitChute, you can use the links in the description to support us, or simply click the green $ dot on our video to support this channel. Thank you. Links are in the description section.